What are some of the best options for the Throne Break and to a degree paths for Cavalier as well as the boss counters? Let's go over it in this video. Hope everyone's doing well. This is a freshly squeezed video. It's taken a little bit of a while. Apologies for the delay with getting this video out, but unfortunately everything takes time. It's taken a few hours to kind of get together some details for stuff. So, first of all, starting for 1.1. 1.1 is all about Tech Champions, Infectious Wrath, Engineered Fracture. What are some of the champion options for this one? Well, you've got a ton depending on how you want to approach this. So you could either go Warlock, Peni Parker Awaken, Viv Vision, and Mega Sentinel with a pre-fight, Silver Centurion Punisher, to name but a few. And look, for me, best options: Peni Parker, Warlock, and Mega Sentinel and Nimrod. I've used Nimrod actually a few times in this. Worked well, so it is what it is. When it comes to your boss, however, boss is Hulk. Any champ really works. Nick Fury, any champ really. The way that Nick Fury works is that he's got the ability in phase 2 to deal with the stun if he gets stunned, and as well if there's any kind of evading, he's able to deal with that pretty well. If you're annoyed about the unstoppable side of things, then maybe bring in a slow debuff champion, but to be honest, it's not really anything to worry about. Okay, now on to the fun of the second quest, 1.2, Mystic Consumption. Many champions to use for this, whether or not you're looking at Black Widow, Clairvoyant, Doctor Doom, Hood, Symbiote Supreme, Juggernaut, Mangog, Scarlet Witch, Wiccan, to name but a few. There's tons. My favourite is Wiccan, but again, it's up to you what champions you use. When it comes to the boss, however, this is the thing that's been the most interesting thing counters for this. There's actually a lot more. When I did my first kind of approach of this, I actually did it, I'd say it felt wrong, but it turned out to be right. So the champion that worked out well for me is Guillotine. Guillotine has something with this that we'll talk about in a minute. It's not the only option. We've got several options in a minute. You've got Aggressive Regeneration, Dazed and Confused. Dazed and Confused is that the only thing to worry about that is if you are looking to always well-time block. Try and not well-time block. That's something. You also need to be potentially bleeding or suppressing the unstoppable that comes your way, or the enemy's way. So Sasquatch is going to get a unstoppable every 8 seconds unless he's being bled, as obviously bleed debuff, or it's a case that you suppress that with slow or counter it. I gotta be honest, I experimented with a few things, and that was like, okay, well, let's try and staggers. Yeah, not really a great option. I would say that the most opportune way to approach this fight is to look at either bleeding the champion, going around the 8 second reset, 6 second rotation, 8 second rotation of the unstoppable, of suppressing that via slow, he'll block all the way with it. So this is why there's several options that are better than going Guillotine. But look, if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid, as I always say. So you could look to use Archangel, but again, watch out for those doing those well-timed blocks. You could use Warlock, but as I said, watch out for doing well-timed blocks, because you'll be parrying, heavying with Warlock, which is putting a bleed debuff on, which is suppressing the Crimson Rage. And you've got your Archangels. Archangels an option, to name but a few. There's several others. I'll try and update wherever I can. The interesting one, Silver Centurion. Silver Centurion does have a slow debuff, and as well he has a heal block within his kit, so it's kind of like a double bubble. Don't kind of rule that one off. I think that's going to be like an interesting kind of option for that one. I've heard some people use the following. Who people use? People have used Absorbing Man. I've heard Absorbing Man, Sandman as well. Like there's quite a lot. Nick Fury as well. I've heard. Like again, there's tons of different options that people use. I'll put in the by the way, if you haven't checked out the spreadsheet, I would recommend checking out the spreadsheet. We have these little kind of like snippet cards, but I've got to add more to this. So by the time this video is out, I've added a few more kind of options and suggestions to the Sassy. Next up, we've got 2.1. This is all about using Cosmic Champions, part of Crack in the Armor. Your Armor Break Champions that are Cosmic are going to be very, very effective for this one. Your Hyperions, Corvuses, Hercules with Captain America Infinity War, Angela, Venom, to name but a few. There's tons. King Groot, personal favourite of mine. When it comes to the boss, however, for this one, Immortal Abomination, my recommendations are very much poison immune driven. Don't parry, that's the one thing. You'll see a cycle kind of like coming in, just maybe try not to parry quite as much, stay in your block if you need to be. To be honest, it isn't as scary as you might think. I actually ended up, I don't think you should use Nick Fury. Kind of yes, kind of no, because he will purify when he's in his phase 2, which will like trigger some elements of cold turkey. But I would say like I didn't have to worry. I really didn't have to worry about it. I just used Nick Fury. But yeah, any kind of poison immune champion will be a good option. Keep champion to an SP1. Yeah, that's all I can really say. 2.2 is all about skill-based champions, martial discipline. What are some of the options? Tons of options. My personal favourites are Black Widow Deadly Origin, Falcon's pretty good, Nick Fury I did use, that was alright, but to be honest I think I should have brought in Falcon instead. Elsa Bloodstone, Ronin, Debuff Shruggers, there's tons. I need to update this a bit further than it is, but Kingpin, Mole Man, Jabari Panther, who was it? Baron Zemo, of course. Baron Zemo needs to be kind of added to this as well. Very, very good options. The boss is null, nothing really to worry about, to be honest. We've got power focus 2, pretty basic. The attackers special attacks and damage over time. Debuffs deal 95% less damage, but their light and medium attacks deal 200% more damage. I think it's a very easy fight. I didn't really have anything to kind of like note with this. You know, we've got Counter Strike, using the Dexterity Mastery to dodge an attack, grants the attacker Passive Fury. I think this is probably the most easiest. You may want to, you know, revert to champions that are kind of like your Kingpins, Debuff Shruggers maybe. Again, that's down to you how you want to approach this fight. For me, I just used Wiccan and it was done in a flash. So there was like nothing really to worry about. But yeah, Mystic Champions, Debuff Shruggers, Baron Zemo, anything could really be effective against this. It's pretty easy fight. Right, now to 3.1, Kushala, if I'm saying that right. But this particular fight leading up to it is all about your mutant-based champions. So your mutant-based champions for this. Iceman, great champion option. Mega Red, Magneto is pretty good because there's going to be champions. Because it's biohazard, don't hit into the block. The AI is just all kinds of bad here. I mean, the AI is bad in general this month for some reason. It's really terrible for that Sasquatch fight because the champion's going to be power gaining. But it's, yeah, forewarning, the AI is pretty trashy this month. I've seen lots of people talk about the same thing. But in any case, don't hit into the block because you'll be poisoned. But if you've got champions that are bleed immune, at least you can, you know, get involved with the fight. Apocalypse, Old Man Logan, Rogue, any kind of like double immunity champions or bleed immunity champion options that are mutant are going to be very effective for this one. When it comes to the boss side of things and Kushala, up to you how you want to approach this. I will give you some options. For me, I ended up using a combination of, well, I tried out Iceman. That was okay. I did get a bit bored of that. I didn't facilitate stuff with me that I liked. And then just finished it off with a Human Torch. I do want to try Namor against this. I think it's going to be very effective to reflect a lot of damage. Look up for maybe a video at some point. I might try that at the weekend. But as I've said, I've got to be focused on my Battlegrounds. I've gone from, in the space of 48 hours, I think it's Gold 3 to Vibranium 3, so I've got to focus on that in order to make it in time. I'm hopeful I will make it to Gladiator Circuit for that last piece, but it's just so grindy at the moment. I'm just getting a little bit bored with it. But in any case, it is what it is, and you got to grind. That's the sad state of affairs with MCOC. But back on track. Yep, Incinerate Immune champion options could be good. Power Control and Incinerate Immune could be very effective. The champion is immune to, I think it's bleed, so you can't use Archangel. And also using Hulk, very effective. Titania, very effective. So yeah, science-based options could be very helpful in this one. But don't underestimate Infamous Iron Man. That could be a really good option as well against this. And the final path for the final fight or the final quest is Academic Constitution. Poison immune champion options that are science are the way to go with this. Don't have to, you could use any of them, but I would say there's a ton of poison immune options that could be very effective. Whether or not you go with, you maybe even use Quake, distance, Quake and Bake. If not, look to your Hulks, She-Hulks, Abominations. Of course, you need a synergy with Red Guardian for that one. Hulk, Immortal Abomination. You got Overseer. Overseer is my favourite. Red Hulk's another option. Ant-Man, Anti-Venom, Cap Infinity War with skill champions. The list goes on. You choose how you want to approach this particular fight when it comes to the boss side of things. For Chilth, we have got Enhanced Parry, Power Gain, Physical Burst, Reflect, Bare Necessities, No Hit, Mercy, and then we've got Parry. So I'd say for this one, you're gonna have to use a White Magneto. That just kind of makes things a little bit more helpful for the situation. I used Bishop, and that worked fine. Archangel I used to kind of like finish him off, her off. Sorry. It just kind of felt like we were kind of doing a good kind of rope-a-dope with it. It worked relatively well. So there's other options, by the way, you can use. If you wanted to, you could use Nick Fury. I've seen people use that one. That works relatively well. Any other mutant. Vox. Iceman. Could be an option if you wanted to use it. So yeah, those are the options. That's been the video. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out some other content located on the screen right now. And I'll see you all in the next video. And ta-ra.